Alrighty, we made it through Prostitution Week, and now let's do a little fun thing to wrap things up. And today, what we're going to do is a song. And so we're going to do a song, we're going to go through it, we're going to say what we think about it, and what it might mean, and how that might tie into the rest of the week. And the song today is I Own You by Shinedown, which is definitely one of my favorite bands. They're very good. So, very appropriate. I Own You, right? with Prostitution and what we've said so far. So anyway, without further ado, let's go. Verse 1.
Come on in, take a seat. Tell me how you feel this week. Are you cursed? Are you blessed? Are you still inside the mess? All those feelings wrapped around you hold you down so you can't break through.
Alrighty, so let's take in the first half of that. So if you listen to the first half of verse 1, which is, come on in, take a seat. Tell me how you feel this week, which sounds very much like what a therapist would say. You know, like, hey, come on, take a seat. Tell how you feeling, right? Are you doing all right? And so this makes it sound like the person singing the song is like, you know, talking to you, the listener, and you are troubled. You have a hard time, right? But you could think of it a different way. Tell me how you feel this week. You could say W-E-E-K, as in, how are you feeling right now? But you could also do W-E-A-K, and how do you feel this week? As in, why are you this pathetic? Why are you so much of a loser? Right? And that goes into the next thing. Are you cursed? Are you blessed? Are you still inside the mess? And that makes it feel very different, because you have these two different interpretations of that first half, where you say, well, maybe it's like a therapist would say, or maybe someone accusing you of being pathetic. And so the therapist says, oh, what do you think? Are you cursed? Are you blessed? This kind of dispassionate kind of thing, like, oh, are you still having a hard time? Whereas that accusatory voice of, why are you so pathetic? Are you cursed? You think you're blessed, maybe? Oh, how are you still in this mess, right? And it's like, you can take it two different ways. And the truth of the matter is, when you are in a hard place, even that dispassionate, inquisitive voice of kind of like a therapist does sound accusatory. And that's the thing, is that's what's setting up here, is that even the people who are on the sidelines, they're not causing you problems. It still feels like they're judging you. It still feels like they're pushing on you and saying, hey, you suck. You're a loser. Because that's what's on the top of your mind. It doesn't mean they're actually doing that. Just that's how you feel. And that leads into how you wrap up this part. All those feelings wrapped around you, hold you down, so you can't break through. Meaning you don't get to do what you want, because all of the things in your head, all the stuff that you're thinking, and people judging you, and what are they going to say? What am I doing? Oh my goodness, I'm so afraid. And that holds you down and prevents you from doing what you think you should do. Now, this is a long verse, so I cut it up into two parts. This is the second half of the first verse. So verse 1 still, let's wrap it up.
It's a trap, so don't ask. It's a shadow on your back. It don't burn, it don't bleed, still it cuts you at the knee. All this pressure that's around you holds you down, but you know you gotta break through.
And there it is. It's a trap, so don't ask. It's a shadow on your back. That's how it feels. Don't share what you're feeling, because it's a trap. That they're only asking because they want you to fail. They want to prove that you're a failure, and when you admit it, oh man, then they can feel good about themselves. Like, oh, I'm so great and you're a failure. You suck, and I knew it. That's how this feels. So it's a trap. Don't ask. It's a shadow on your back. It don't burn. It don't bleed. Right? It doesn't hurt you physically, but still it cuts you at the knee. It means that you can't move forward. You're cut down. You're on the ground. You can't do anything. It cripples you. It's just a shadow on your back. It's not real. It's just people talking, people judging, people saying things. It's not real, but it feels real. It really has an impact on you, and it really slows you down, cuts you down. And then this mirrors the first half of the verse. All this pressure that surrounds you holds you down, but you know you gotta break through. And that's the thing, is that you feel bad. It's holding you down. And wherever you go, even if people aren't being mean, even if they're just asking how you feel this week, it comes out in your mind. W-E-A-K. As in, you're pathetic. And so no matter what people say, even if it's benign, even if it's neutral, it puts you down because you're in a down place. But even though you're held down emotionally, you have to get past that. As hard as that is, you have to get past that. You gotta break through, because you're the only one who can do it. You can only do it for yourself. No one can force you to feel better. No one can fix it for you. You have to do it yourself. And that's hard. And that leads into the chorus. Hey, c'est la vie. Such is life. That's the way it goes. And then, remember me? I made you, dressed and trained you. So this is your parent talking, right? Your mom or your dad. And that's the thing, is you're having a hard time. And oftentimes, your parents, or maybe someone else. Maybe it's not your parents. Maybe in the same way that prostitutes call their pimp daddy, maybe someone else is talking here, and it's not family, but someone who has put themselves in authority over you, right? Where you just call them daddy. They're not related to you. They don't care about you. But you put them in that place of authority anyway, where you say, I'm going to listen to you because you're my daddy. Right? Remember me? I made you who you are today. If you're having a hard time, maybe that's not a good thing. Yeah? Just because they made you who you are today doesn't mean you're all of a sudden thankful for that. Dressed you and trained you. Hey, it's bittersweet. You can't kill me with kindness. I don't buy it. And that's what this is. this emotional withdrawal. They are not caring about you the way you should be cared about. You should care about yourself. And these people they're not helping you. They're holding you back. That the reason why you feel so weak, that you feel so cursed, that you feel all these feelings that are holding you down and keeping you down, it's because of this kind of behavior where you say, hey, it's bittersweet. There's some good and there's some bad in it. And yeah, no, it's bad. You see, the sweet part is what makes you put up with the bitter. And that sweet part is just as bad as the bitter part. Because without the sweet part, you wouldn't even be there. The sweet part is why you're getting poisoned. Because that's what bitter is. Bitter is literally poison. When a vegetable tastes bitter, it's because it's got poison in it. Now usually, it tastes like broccoli. It's got so little poison, you barely even notice. It's just flavor, right? That's why people say, oh, I don't like Brussels sprouts, I don't like kale, I don't like this, I don't like that. It's because it's literally poison, and they don't like the taste of poison. When it's cooked, the poison gets cooked out. But anyway, the poison in those vegetables is so small amount that it doesn't harm you. In fact, it actually helps you. It builds you up. But here's the thing. If you put sugar on it, then you can eat way more than you should. And this actually happens. People put spinach, raw spinach, in a smoothie, but because they put sugar on it and fruit and all the sweet stuff, they blend it. And it tastes so good and delicious, and you say it's nutritious. And they end up destroying their bodies because you can't eat that much spinach every day. That's not good for you. And your taste buds would tell you that if you didn't cover it up with sugar. And that's what happens. It's bittersweet. You can't kill me with kindness. I don't buy it. They are neglecting you and putting you down and saying you don't matter. What your concerns are don't matter. Get away from me. It's the sweet part that makes you suffer from the bitter part. Because bitters are good for you in moderation. In excess, it's poison. And if you've got sugar, just a little bit, hiding that poison, you're going to lap it right up. And that leads into the end of the chorus where you say, so strip down, show me flesh and bone, because now I own you. And that's this toxic relationship. And really, it can be about anything, any kind of relationship. But hey, it's prostitution week, so let's talk about that for a sec, right? So daddy, you made me, you dressed me, you trained me, and I don't like it sometimes. It's bittersweet. And whenever I complain and I have a hard time, you don't listen. And how does he respond? You just say, hey, strip. Show me flesh and bone, because that's all you're worth. That's all that matters about you. And I own you. You're an object. You're not a person. You don't deserve compassion. That's why what I'm doing to you is okay. Because you're not a person. And that's the theme of this whole week, and that's why I picked this song. Because the theme of this week is really about not thinking of yourself as a person, of thinking of yourself as an object. Prostitution is a great way to talk about that topic, but that's really what this week is about. Whether you're working a job, You're not treated as a person, you're treated as a cog in the machine. Whether you're watching porn and you're treating yourself as an object, even though you might not think that way. At least it's not obvious. All this week I've been talking about people being treated as objects. People being treated as objects. They're objects, they're objects, they're objects. And that's what this song is saying. This is how that happens. How you let that happen is by listening to someone as toxic as this, as the person singing the song. Not literally the band, but the personified person singing this. And then, now that they own you, let's listen to verse 2.
Take a breath, hold it in. Now look up, let's begin. Lesson learned, take a turn. Now you come around again. All those feelings wrapped around you hold you down so you can't break through. Time is up, take a shot, 'cause your story's all you got. Don't back down, don't say no, just exhale and let go. All this pressure that's around you holds you down, but you know you gotta break through.
And there it is. First half of verse 2. Take a breath. Hold it in. Now look up. Let's begin. And that's the thing. This is leading up to something. This is saying, I own you, right? We've already established that in the chorus. You're having a hard time. We established that in verse 1. Now we're in verse 2 and we say, calm down, right? Take a breath, hold it in. Now look up and let's begin. Why look up? Because you're below them. You are less than them. You're not a person, you're an object, remember? They own you. So you're below them and you have to look up. Now, lesson learned, take a turn, now you come around again. That you learned your lesson and you're saying, oh, that's a toxic relationship, that's a toxic person, I'm going to leave. And then you're back. Why are you back? Well, it's like what I said. You can't change people. You can't force people to change. What they need is to hit rock bottom so they can realize, oh, this is wrong. I have to leave. But if they haven't hit rock bottom and they're just trying to logic their way through it, then they can forget that logic and they can say, well, I can't quite remember why I left. I mean, I knew he beat me, or he abused me, or they did terrible things to me, and they didn't appreciate me, but now they do. Now they say they're sorry, so, I'll come around. I'll come around again. And that's the thing. You gotta learn, and everyone learns in their own way. Hopefully you are not one of those people that has to be constantly beaten down by an abuser, and then you learn your lesson and you go maybe to a different one this time. Oh, and they can beat you down again. Hopefully you don't learn that way. Hopefully you can be one of the many people who learn from someone else's experience, someone else's pain. And you can look at someone else in pain and say, I don't want them in that pain. But sometimes, ironically, it's easier to stand up for someone else than for yourself. Precisely because we have this complex in our heads where we don't think of ourselves as people, but rather as objects. So you see someone else and you say, I'm a compassionate person. That's a person. They don't deserve to be treated that way. It's just like in the story I told, where the prostitute I knew, she went back to prostitution. Why? Because she wanted to make sure that those SOBs didn't do this to anyone else. Now, did she succeed in that? I don't think so. I never heard of anything of it. She just hurt herself more. But she justified it because other people matter and she doesn't. And then we go back to it. All those feelings wrapped around you, hold you down so you can't break through. Time is up. Take your shot. Because your story's all you got. And that's the thing. You gotta try. You have a story, a bunch of experiences that you have that no one else in the world has. You're unique and special. And there's value in that. You are valuable. Not because of just stuff you have or aspects about you, but because you are a person. You're a child of God. That's why you matter. Not because of anything you've done, not because of anything you have. It's because of who you are that you matter. Because you're a person. Child of God, you matter. Take your story, give it a chance, do better. Don't back down, don't say no. Just stay still and let go. Don't let this hold you back. Don't let these bad experiences, bad thoughts, bad feelings, don't let them hold you back. Keep going. Try harder every single day. Again and again and again. Because here's the thing. Like I said, some people need to hit rock bottom before they really change. But it's a hard fall to the bottom. So try your best to not have to learn that way. Try as hard as you can in every way you know how. And if it doesn't work, go out. Learn from other people who've had similar experiences. How did they get out of it? How did they do it? Because it is possible. Anything is possible because we, like I said, we're children of God. We can make anything happen. You can make anything happen. Just try. Give it a shot. Don't back down. Keep going. All this pressure that surrounds you holds you down, but you know you gotta break through. That's what's important here. Breaking through straight on up to the clouds. To where you should be. Doing what you should do. And it may seem impossible, but you can do it. You can. You have agency and choice because you are not an object. You are a person. And you can choose. Then we do another chorus. And then this is like the shortest bridge I've ever seen, but this is how it goes.
Down until your flesh and bone, 'cause now I own you.
And there it is. A slight twist on the end of the chorus. Strip down until you're flesh and bone. Because before it was show me flesh and bone. But that's the thing. Strip down, show me flesh and bone. Well, that sounds a lot like prostitution, right? Yeah, you strip them down, and then you can use them, you can abuse them, they're vulnerable, right? Show me flesh and bone. Show me something that I can take advantage of, because I own you. But this bridge changes it just a little bit by changing it to strip down until you're flesh and bone. Well, that changes the whole story. Because now it sounds like not merely show me your vulnerability so I can abuse them, but become actually vulnerable. Don't show it to me. Be vulnerable. Be weak. Strip down until all that's left is flesh and bone. Until you are an object in truth. Until there's nothing left besides flesh and bone. Don't just show it to me. Be that. Don't show me you're an object. Be an object. And that's what this is all about. People want you to be an object so they can abuse you, sure. But even more so, they want you to believe it too. Because then there's no one to stop them. You see, at the beginning of the week, I said that prostitution and work are pretty much the same thing. It's just a difference of degree, difference of how much you sell yourself, how much you objectify yourself. And that's the thing. It's hard to see with prostitution because it's so foreign to so many of us. But with work, we all know it. You suppress yourself, pushed down by all these feelings of anxiety, like, oh, I need to keep my job. If I lose my job, that's a whole big deal. And then you say, oh, I need this money because otherwise I can't do this or this or this. And it becomes this whole big thing. But remember, you're a person. When they say strip down until you're flesh and bone, until you're just that nice, soft employee that we can just tell what to do, you don't have anything to defend yourself. You're not strong. You're not powerful. You're just you. You're just an object. That's how they want you to think. So that way you don't say things like, well, here I am trying to negotiate for my starting pay, and I don't even know what's fair. They don't tell you. They don't say, oh, well, we typically pay people this much. Does that sound about right to you? They don't say that. They say, how much would you like? At my first job, I was coming out of college. No idea what was fair for the position I had. So I was like, 40K? Like, I'm dumb teenager, right? And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we can do that. And I'm like, and then they ask me again, and they're like, 50K? And they're like, yeah, we can do that. And then I call back a different time, and it's like, 60K? And they're like, yeah, we can do that. So they were willing to pay me 40K just as readily as 60K. They weren't treating me like a person. They weren't saying, oh, this is what you earn. This is how much we expect you'll provide us in value. So here's your cut. There is no cut. They give you whatever you'll take. Because they see you as just flesh and bone, just an object to be used. Now, thankfully, my job currently doesn't treat me that way. But they got acquired by a big company, and I don't know about them. And that's how it goes. Even if your employer's good. Even if you feel like you have a good job. Even if they made you what you are today, dressed and trained you, gave you all the stuff that you have. They don't own you. They don't. You are a person, not an object. Act that way. And that's the lesson for this week. That's what this is all about. It's about being a person. Doing everything the way that you believe is best. None of us are perfect. We're going to make a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of people that really do think that the best road to take is prostitution. And they have their reasons, and whether they're legitimate or not, they are reasons. And we don't get to pick for them, because they're not objects. We can hope that one day they'll feel the same, but we can't do it for them. That's not respectful to them as people. And it's the same way for you. Whatever your issue may be, whatever might be the thing that's giving you so many emotions that hold you down, with depression and anxiety, worry, whatever it is, remember, you're a person. More than that, you're a child of God. You deserve, at the very least, respect. And that respect, first and foremost, has to come from yourself. You have to respect yourself first. Otherwise, no one else is going to. That's what this song is about. It's what this week is about. Don't be an object. Respect yourself. And that's how you break through.